Money Arata. Very few people own Bitcoins. Even if you say that you do own Bitcoins, most likely your Bitcoins are inside of the exchange. This is not having Bitcoins because at any time the exchange may have a problem and not deliver these Bitcoins to you. Having Bitcoins at the exchange is like having a paper promise that it will deliver these Bitcoins to you if you ask for the withdrawal. There is a saying in the Bitcoin community that goes like this: not your keys, not your coins. This sentence was said by Andreas Antonopoulos when he reinforced one of the most important characteristics of Bitcoin: the responsibility of you to be your own bank and to take the consequences if you don't want to be. With big powers comes big responsibility, because there is no central authority telling you what you can, what you cannot do with your Bitcoin. Bitcoin gives you the power to use your money however you want. You can transfer your money to whomever you want at any time without asking anyone's permission. It is impossible to confiscate your money held in Bitcoin. But with that power comes the responsibility for you to safely store your Bitcoins. And for that, you need to have a wallet, and you have the need to have a private key, a password, which gives you access to these Bitcoins. If you don't have this private key, then you don't really own your Bitcoins. This is like the meaning of saying that not your keys, not your coins. If you only have Bitcoins in your crypto exchange account, it is the same thing as not having Bitcoins at all. Important, this is not financial service. Read the full disclaimer before proceeding. Keeping your Bitcoins in your exchange is a risk that cancels the benefits of having Bitcoin. Nowadays, it has been very common to create an account at a crypto exchange and buying some Bitcoins there. Buying Bitcoins on an exchange is so easy that it ends up creating problematic situations, as people don't learn to take custody of their own keys. When you buy Bitcoins on the exchange, you're exchanging your money in national currency, which are dollars or euros, for example, for a digital asset, Bitcoin, which needs to be stored somewhere. What most beginners do is to leave these purchased Bitcoins over there, in the exchange. But there is a risk. The Bitcoin network has never been hacked, even with more than 10 years of operation worth billions of dollars, and being a desired target by the most sophisticated hackers in the world, the Bitcoin network remains protected by the greatest computing power on the planet. But the same thing cannot be said about the exchanges. A hacker could very well break into an exchange and steal the Bitcoins that were left there. And this has already happened dozens of times. The most famous case was in 2014 when MTGOX, one of the most famous Bitcoin exchanges back in the day, was hacked and 850,000 Bitcoins were stolen. At the time, it was worth about $600 million, but today this is worth tens of billions of dollars. Everyone who had left Bitcoins on the exchange lost those Bitcoins forever. The exchange went bankrupt, and the only way for customers to recover part of the money would be to go to court against the company and try to get some compensation in local currency. This is an excellent example of why you shouldn't leave your Bitcoins at an exchange. But it's not the only example. More than 50 such hacks are already known. If this is still not clear to you, just think about when you go to some exchange office to exchange your local money for dollars, if you're not in the US, for example. Would you trust leaving your dollars over there in the exchange office with a promise that you can withdraw them later? Or would you rather put your dollars in your wallet right away? That's what you should do with your Bitcoins after you buy them. Put them in your own wallet. That's what we call taking custody of your own keys. You only have full control over your Bitcoins if you have a wallet with your private keys. To take the Bitcoins out of the exchange and keep everything under your responsibility, you need to have two keys: a public key and a private key. You can think of the public key as your bank account number and the private key as your account password. Your bank account number can be public. You can pass this number to someone else, for example, when you want to receive a deposit from other people to receive some money. But your password is private. It is yours alone. Whomever has the password has the power to control the money that is in that account. With Bitcoin, it's pretty much the same thing, with the difference that there is no bank. There is no central authority. There is nobody to complain to if you lose your private key. There is no phone number or help center for you to be calling and complaining, for example. This may seem like a disadvantage, but it is an essential feature of Bitcoin. The absence of a central authority is what gives you sovereignty of your own money. It is great power, but also a great responsibility. When you leave your Bitcoins at some exchange, you have access to the Bitcoins, but from the point of view of the Bitcoin network, they're not really yours. Of course, there may be laws that will make your exchange liable. You can demand your rights as a customer of that exchange, but speaking about the Bitcoin network point of view, there is not much that you can do. Also, when you entrust your money to a third party, you're back to the same problem that we have with national currencies and central authorities. The exchange may set some limits about how you might use those Bitcoins. They may say, for example, that you may only transfer a certain amount per day. They might put other limitations for security reasons. Therefore, trusting your Bitcoins to someone else's account goes against the idea of sovereignty over the money. It's the basis of Bitcoin. Knowing this, now a question arises that worries many beginners in the world of cryptocurrencies. How can you do it? Where can you store your Bitcoin keys safely? There are wallets for all types of profiles. You can choose the ones that best suit your needs. Okay, now you've already convinced yourself that you shouldn't leave your Bitcoins on the exchange or any other third-party accounts. But what now? Where do you send your Bitcoins? You need to send these Bitcoins to your wallet, to a wallet that gives you access to the Bitcoins that are stored on the time chain, the Bitcoin database that is distributed among all the members of the network. A wallet is a computer program that has a user-friendly interface. It is a software where you store the keys to your Bitcoins and that allows you to send Bitcoins directly to other people without the need for intermediaries. There are two types of wallets: those that are connected to the internet and those that are offline. The ones that are connected to the internet are also known as hot wallets. They're more practical. The ones that go offline, they're also known as cold wallets. They're a little bit less practical, but they're more secure. Creating a hot wallet is quite easy. Just download an app on your phone, you can create an account, and that's it. Each wallet has a different interface, and it is important that you look at the tutorials that explain how you can write down the seed phrase, which is a 12 or 24 word password that you can keep in a safe place to be sure that the Bitcoins are really yours. For example, if your cell phone is stolen, you can just use these words from your seed phrase to recover your wallet on another device. In addition, you need to take care of the security of your own equipment, leaving it free from viruses or physical damage. Furthermore, as the hot wallets are connected to the internet, they are at a higher risk. If you want to reduce your risk from online attacks, you better have a cold wallet. The difference from the cold wallet is it's not connected to the internet. The cold wallet can exist in three ways: as a computer program installed on your computer, as a kind of a flash drive, or as a piece of paper. The cold wallet that looks like a thumb drive, it is called a hardware wallet. It is a small device where you transfer your keys to your Bitcoins, which are not only off the internet but also off your computer. Your security concern would be just to store this piece of hardware pretty well, probably in a safe or in a secure place. The cold wallet can also stay on a piece of paper. This is called a paper wallet. It is just a paper printing of the public and private keys that are generated by a specific program. Here you will also need to store that piece of paper in a very safe place. Now, if you're finding all of this too complicated, know that you are not the only person with this type of complaint. Ordinary people just want to use Bitcoin in a simple way, without the responsibility of being your own bank. The idea of saying, not your keys, not your coins, makes a lot of sense for the people who are Bitcoin enthusiasts, for anyone who understands the ideology behind Bitcoin, for programmers, cryptographers, all the people who are more tech-savvy. Tech lovers find this all very fascinating. Those that don't like technology find it complicated and scary. The idea of being your own bank doesn't appeal to everyone. The average person doesn't want to have the responsibility of saving money on their own. They even prefer to pay a fee to the bank to leave their assets there with all the security features that one is not able to do by oneself. Keeping Bitcoins in a cold wallet may seem safer, but it is not so practical. Whenever you want to use your Bitcoins, you need to connect your software, get a flash drive, open the safe to get the paper. In addition, there are other issues that arise. For example, what is more likely to happen? That you lose that flash drive at home? Or that a hacker breaks into the account of your exchange? That you would spill some coffee on top of your paper wallet? Or that the exchange will close, shut down with your Bitcoins? That your computer gets damaged in heavy rain or flooding or earthquake, or that the data of the exchange is affected. With the popularization of cryptocurrencies, exchanges have become more professional, and in addition to having good security mechanisms, they also have legal responsibilities. If an exchange loses your Bitcoins, for example, you could go to court and you could claim compensation for material damages, asking for the equivalent amount of money to be reimbursed to you. Therefore, there is no really right answer for everybody as to which is the best solution to store your Bitcoins. You could even use mixed solutions. You can leave, for example, part of your Bitcoins at the exchange, part in a hot wallet for practical solutions, and another part in a cold wallet, if you're able to guarantee the security of your cold wallet. Spreading your Bitcoins into multiple places also increases the protection because in that way you don't have a single point of failure. You may have already noticed that using Bitcoin is not the same as using regular currency. You have more sovereignty of your money, but at the same time you have to deal with issues that usually you wouldn't have to deal if you would be using your national currency. It is up to you to do a risk analysis, to increase your knowledge, and then decide which is the best option for you to protect your Bitcoin. Not your keys, not your coins. The adage of the cryptocurrency world shows how responsible you have to be about your Bitcoins, whether to protect your assets using wallets or to take the risks of leaving your Bitcoins at the exchange. Whatever the case, one thing is certain. You need knowledge. You need to understand what you're doing to be more secure and be better able to make money in this new world of cryptocurrencies. For those of you who are interested in this type of knowledge, I invite you to visit the Diamond Hands course. In this training, you will learn in a very simple and easy to understand way everything that you need to know about investing in Bitcoin safely. To learn more about the Diamond Hands course, you can go to arata.se/diamondhands.